Have you ever been in a room full of people and still felt completely alone? Many older adults experience this feeling, but very few talk about it openly. It often hides behind polite smiles, daily routines, and quiet evenings at home. To others, everything may look perfectly normal, but inside, something feels different. After the age of 70, life changes in ways that many people never expected. Children grow up and move away. Old friends relocate or pass on. Neighborhoods change. Communities become quieter. And slowly, sometimes without anyone noticing, loneliness begins to appear. Not the dramatic kind that people talk about in movies, but the quiet kind, the kind that shows up in long afternoons, silent dinners, or the absence of a familiar voice on the phone. The truth is, loneliness among seniors is far more common than most people realize. But here is the encouraging part. Loneliness is not a permanent condition, and there are gentle, practical ways to reconnect with others and rediscover a sense of belonging. Today we're going to talk about the hidden loneliness many seniors never talk about, why it happens, how it affects health, and most importantly, what simple steps can help bring warmth and connection back into daily life. Sometimes the smallest changes can open the door to meaningful connections again. One of the first reasons loneliness appears later in life is something many seniors never expect: the loss of daily conversations. When people are younger, interaction happens naturally, at work, in busy households, in schools, or during everyday errands. But retirement often changes that rhythm. Suddenly, entire days can pass without meaningful conversation. You may speak to a cashier, maybe exchange a few words with a neighbor, but the deeper conversations that once filled life become less frequent. A 74-year-old man named Richard experienced this after retiring from a job he held for nearly 40 years. For decades, Richard spent his days surrounded by co-workers. They shared jokes, discussed weekend plans, and talked about everything from sports to family life. But after retirement, his days became very quiet. At first he enjoyed the peace, no deadlines, no schedules, no alarms. But after several months, he noticed something unexpected. The silence felt heavier than he imagined. One afternoon, while having coffee at a local diner, he struck up a conversation with another regular customer. They talked about the weather, about baseball, about old cars. It wasn't a life-changing conversation, but Richard left the diner feeling surprisingly lighter. That small exchange reminded him of something important. Humans are social beings, no matter our age. Sometimes a few friendly words can lift the spirit more than we realize. Another reason loneliness becomes hidden among seniors is pride. Many older adults spent their entire lives being independent. They raised families, built careers, solved problems, took care of others. Asking for companionship can sometimes feel uncomfortable. Some people worry that reaching out will make them appear needy. Others assume family members are too busy, so they stay quiet. A 78-year-old woman named Eleanor felt this way after her husband passed away. For nearly 50 years, she had shared her daily life with someone. Morning coffee together, evening conversations, simple routines that made the house feel alive. After he was gone, the silence felt overwhelming. But Eleanor rarely spoke about it. When her daughter called, Eleanor would say everything was fine. "I'm doing well," she would say. "Don't worry about me." But deep inside, she missed the presence of another person. Eventually, a neighbor invited her to join a weekly book club at the local library. At first, Eleanor almost declined. She worried she might feel out of place. But she decided to give it a try. The group met every Thursday afternoon, a small circle of older adults discussing novels, sharing laughter, and occasionally drifting into stories about their own lives. After a few weeks, Eleanor realized something important. She wasn't the only one who had been feeling lonely. Many people in that room were quietly searching for the same thing: connection. Loneliness often hides because so many people are experiencing it at the same time, but nobody wants to admit it first. Another hidden cause of loneliness is something we rarely talk about: the loss of feeling useful. Throughout life, people find meaning in roles: parent, worker, caregiver, mentor. These roles create a sense of purpose, but after retirement, or after children move away, some of these roles slowly fade. Without realizing it, many seniors begin to feel like observers rather than participants in life. A 72-year-old retired mechanic named Harold felt this change strongly. For decades, Harold had been the person everyone called when something broke. Neighbors needed help fixing engines. Friends asked for advice about repairs. Family members depended on his skills. But as time passed, fewer people asked for help. New cars required specialized equipment. Younger people relied on repair shops. Harold began feeling as though his knowledge was no longer needed. One day, his grandson mentioned that a local high school had an after-school auto club for students interested in learning about cars. Harold decided to volunteer. Once a week, he spent 2 hours helping teenagers understand how engines worked. To his surprise, the students were fascinated by his experience. They asked questions. They listened carefully. They admired his knowledge. Harold went home after those afternoons feeling energized. He realized something important. Purpose doesn't disappear with age. Sometimes it simply changes form. Sharing knowledge, mentoring younger people, or offering life experience can create powerful connections across generations. Another hidden form of loneliness comes from something many seniors quietly struggle with: technology. The world has changed rapidly in the last 20 years. Communication now happens through text messages, social media, and video calls. For younger generations, these tools feel natural, but for some older adults, they can feel confusing or intimidating. A 75-year-old woman named Gloria experienced this when her grandchildren moved to another state. They stayed in touch through video calls and messaging apps, but Gloria initially felt uncomfortable using them. She worried about pressing the wrong buttons. She felt embarrassed asking for help. As a result, she spoke to her grandchildren less often than she wanted. Eventually, her grandson patiently showed her how to use a video calling app. The first time Gloria saw her grandchildren's faces on the screen, she was amazed. Suddenly, the distance between them felt smaller. They showed her their school projects, their pets, even the snow falling outside their window. Technology didn't replace in-person visits, but it opened a new door for connection. Many community centers now offer simple technology classes specifically designed for older adults. Learning even a few basic tools can reconnect seniors with family members, friends, and communities that once felt far away. Loneliness can also appear after health changes. As people age, certain physical limitations may make social activities more difficult. Driving at night becomes harder. Walking long distances feels tiring. Crowded environments may feel overwhelming. Some people begin turning down invitations simply because the effort feels too great. But over time, fewer outings can lead to fewer connections. An 81-year-old man named Walter experienced this after knee surgery. For months, he stayed home recovering. At first, he believed it was temporary, but even after his knee improved, he had fallen out of his old routines. He stopped attending community gatherings and church events. Eventually, a friend encouraged him to join a small morning walking group at a nearby park. The group moved slowly. Many participants used walking sticks or took frequent breaks. But the purpose wasn't exercise alone. It was companionship. Walter soon realized that the walks were filled with stories, laughter, and friendly encouragement. Sometimes they walked only half a mile, but the conversations lasted much longer. Health challenges may change how we socialize, but they don't have to eliminate connection completely. Often, adapting activities can reopen doors that seemed closed. Another powerful way to address loneliness is something beautifully simple: acts of kindness. Helping someone else has a remarkable effect on emotional well-being. When we offer support, we feel valued, we feel connected, we feel part of something larger than ourselves. A 77-year-old woman named Denise discovered this after volunteering at a local food pantry. She spent 2 mornings a week helping organize donated groceries. The work was simple, but Denise met people from all walks of life: other volunteers, families receiving assistance, community organizers. Over time, the pantry became a place where she felt welcomed and appreciated. Volunteering didn't erase every lonely moment, but it replaced many empty hours with meaningful connection. Sometimes loneliness fades not when we search for companionship directly, but when we participate in helping others. Finally, it's important to remember something that many seniors forget. Loneliness is not a personal failure. It is a natural response to life transitions. When relationships change, when routines shift, when communities evolve, feelings of isolation can appear. But those feelings do not define your future. New friendships can form at any age. New routines can create new connections. And sometimes the most meaningful relationships develop later in life. A 79-year-old man named James once said something beautiful. You don't stop needing people just because you get older. In fact, you may need them more. But needing connection is not weakness. It is part of being human. And the good news is that small steps can slowly rebuild that sense of belonging. A short conversation at a cafe, joining a local group, learning a new way to communicate with family, offering help where it's needed. Each of these steps opens the door to connection again. Life after 70 still holds opportunities for friendship, laughter, and meaningful relationships. Sometimes the door simply needs to be opened again. If today's message resonated with you, you are not alone. Many people watching this video may have experienced similar feelings, and sharing those experiences can help others realize they are not the only ones. If you feel comfortable, consider sharing in the comments. What is one thing that has helped you feel more connected to others? Your story might inspire someone who is quietly struggling. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more health and wellness guidance designed specifically for older adults. And feel free to share this video with a friend or family member who may benefit from hearing this message. Thank you for spending time with us today. Take care of yourself, stay connected, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.